Are you ready to find out why you might be struggling to find online jobs even when you are qualified? In this video, I'm going to dive through some of the challenges I know a lot of people are going through, especially if they've been trying to apply for a while and they can't seem to find a job. And this is coming from someone who has worked online for the last decade. I did start my own business, so I kind of created my own job, but I'm also a career coach, so I help a lot of people along through this path. Now, the first thing I do want to establish is that working online versus working from an office are kind of two different systems a lot of the time, and honestly it is not for everyone. And what I mean by that is when you are applying for an office job, you might be showing up in person at an office, you might be submitting your resume, you actually printed it out and sent it to them, and you might have an established time of when you are going out, basically out of your house, to be able to find jobs. Versus for remote jobs, you can apply at any time. It is simply sending your resume and maybe your portfolio or an application letter to a job. Everything is processed digitally, from looking at your CV in the first place. It could be you taking skills tests, going through the interview portion, whatever that looks like, everything is online. So that's why I'm saying it's not for everyone, because not everyone is a fit for working remotely. There are people who prefer being able to know when to go outside and when to start working, versus like when you're at home, you kind of have a little bit of like, hey, I can do work at any time. So you need to be able to learn how to set boundaries, how to set routines, so you can get yourself in a better mindset when you're applying. The second reason why you might not be getting jobs is not reading instructions. And I see this honestly all the freaking time as someone who is always actively recruiting executive assistants for our clients at 2XU, where we just get applications where someone obviously did not read the actual job ad, especially when it comes with specific instructions on how to apply. So this is a key thing, is as you're applying for different jobs, is you do want to go ahead and read the instructions, follow any, like, hey, go to this link, or like this Instagram post, or comment about this Instagram post for us. Whatever that is, you do need to read and follow the instructions, because honestly, that's one of the ways that for us as employers, that we can make sure that you have pretty good reading comprehension as well as being able to follow instructions. And it's also one of the ways that we prevent spammers or scammers as well from applying to our jobs. Now, the third reason is a lot of the time when you are reading the instructions, you're reading the job ad, you just think that you're not a match. Just because they're asking for XYZ kind of tools, you're not thinking of like, hey, I can actually transfer my knowledge on other tools that I've used before into this, or other skills that I've used into this. We try to make sure, especially for women, to see that we are a complete match for this job description before applying, when in reality, it could be that you are the closest match that they actually need for the position. Now, when people are looking for someone to hire, basically, they're looking for someone to solve a problem that they have. And a lot of the time, they will have a very detailed list about how they want the problem solved. But to be honest, sometimes we just need to hire someone who is good enough, at least 80% through, who can match a lot of things, can be trained up in a lot of things, and we end up hiring them and growing them in the company anyways. So don't always try to make sure like, hey, I only have 7 out of the 10 qualities, or I only have 6 out of the 10 things that they ask for. Apply anyway, because you never know if there could be some experience that you have that they did not even think of, that they can apply for this job role, that you can be the more flexible candidate or the person that they end up choosing. Next is what I already kind of said, which is disregarding relevant experience. Now, when you have been working in an office space for so long, it might be that they're just using different verbiage or a different language when it comes to translating to remote work. Let's say you were in a past job, you were a marketing director, you were in charge of using, Facebook ads campaigns, Google ad campaigns. And when you're applying for different jobs, it might be that you're applying for a social media manager job, and the roles are very similar, it's just different titles. So don't disregard the past experience that you had just because it doesn't seem to sound like the same kind of role that you're trying to apply for. Because honestly, you'll never know that you're actually the person that they're looking for, again, because you have the relevant experience that they might have not thought of. As long as you are someone who can position yourself as a person who can solve the problem that they're trying to hire for, then you do have better chances than you think. And it's the same thing with disregarding your past skills, not just your experience, but the skills that you've learned along the way. Now, for me, as a business owner, I have learned so many skills in the last decade of doing this. And for me, if I'm applying for jobs, I know for most of them, I might be overqualified, but I can list down the skills that I've been able to do based on what tasks and outcomes I've been able to do before when I was still employed, and as well for my own business. So it would be really good if you're able to actually go ahead and assess your own skills and where you're at on the level of those expertise on those skills. And you can ask ChatGPT of this, of like, hey, this is my resume. What skills do I have that I might not be aware of? And basically having ChatGPT be kind of your career coach to go back and forth on. So how can you do better when it comes to applying for jobs online if you still aren't getting these jobs? First one is to go ahead and customize your resume. Now we have tools nowadays like Canva where you can keep editing your resume forever and ever for every different kind of job. And this is honestly something that I do recommend, especially if it's a job you really want. And it is basically changing the job title that you have on your resume to the job title that they're looking for, that they posted on LinkedIn, wherever it is that you found the job position. It could also be customizing the way that you're writing the application letter, doing a little bit of research on the company. So you're putting in a little bit of an extra effort to stand out from the crowd. Next is to go ahead and create your routine, especially if you're switching from working in an office to working online, is to start imagining yourself like, hey, if I got a job from 7 a.m. all the way to like 3 p.m. Let's say it's an Australian client from and you're from the Philippines, what would my routine look like? What would be the start of day where I could put myself in the mindset of work and do that? Like when you are still applying for jobs, already live as if you're already in your work routine. That way it's going to be easy for you to flip and switch into like, hey, I am now on work mode. Even though you don't have a job yet, you're applying for jobs, but you're already adapting that mindset. And of course, keep applying for work and follow up. Most of the time, it is the failure of not following up. Your email might have gotten lost in their spam folder. You can follow up on their LinkedIn or their Facebook. It could have just been that your email was just opened and sadly was not responded to. So it's always good diligence to follow up. If you've not heard from the recruiter for 3 to 5 days, make sure that you just like, hey, bumping this, or were you able to see this? Or again, finding another channel where you can follow up with them. And of course, watch more videos like this. Basically, keep upskilling yourself. So every single day you're learning something new, especially during this time we're still finding work, where you're still looking for where your next career path is part of your work routine, quote unquote work routine as you're applying for jobs, is you're also studying courses, watching videos, maybe even joining a workshop or 3. It's finding ways to keep working on yourself and getting used to remote work. That way, when you are in an interview basically with a potential client and they're asking you like, hey, what's your routine like? Or how do you stay disciplined when you're working online? You already have a few answers to those questions. Now, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there and comment below any questions that you might have when it comes to applying for jobs online. I would love to know. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have a business from home, which you guys can check out those 2 playlists right here and the latest video right here. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and remember that small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!